from July to December of last year, parents received monthly payments worth up to $250 per child if they were between the ages of 6 and 17, and slightly more if they were under 6 years old. That ended up benefiting 36 million households, and according to research, payments kept 3.7 million kids from poverty and reduced monthly poverty by 30%. It was a fairly unprecedented social policy change in the United States with a fairly unprecedented effect in a very short period of time. Well, in the span of just 1 month, from December of last year to January, the monthly child poverty rate increased from 12.1% to 17%, the highest rate seen since the end of 2020. Black and Latino children experienced even higher increases in poverty, with 5.9% and 7.1% increases respectively, because this is like a constant in virtually everything we talk about. It's all bad, but it's disproportionately worse if you don't happen to be white in America. Researchers say that child poverty rates often fall during tax season as people get their returns. So the second half of the credit received from filing taxes is, quote, likely to result in a substantial but temporary dips in monthly child poverty rates. After April, researchers say the child poverty rate could be persistently high through the rest of the year if the payments aren't renewed. Well, I haven't seen a lot of talk, a lot of pressure from politicians to get this done. Maybe, Brett, with this horrendous news getting out there, maybe if it's talked about enough, they'll do something. Although again, I don't know even how they would do it. Like, are we talking about them trying once again to do a reconciliation bill? Do we think that any Republicans would sign on to this to get it passed traditionally? I sort of doubt it.
It's just so weird. This is a simple one. This is, do you want kids to be hungry or not? And I love the responses to it are insane. The responses are like, well, the parents are making these choices and they need to reap what they sowed in terms of not having a job. The Republicans will probably try to move it into a like, well, let's open the economy back up and end mask mandates and end all that. That's happening right now. We're all moving on from that, but that's gonna be the argument that they make. But like the easy, simple, everybody kumbaya, let's feel good about ourselves argument of like, let's put the child tax credit. This is a rare situation where not only Democrats, like the Democrats are against something, but Republicans are against a tax credit. Like they're always the ones like, let's get rid of these taxes. I'm paying too many taxes. Like, why don't we give a tax credit to people with kids? Let's do that. But it gets mired in this ridiculous argument that's like, listen, the immigrants, they're the ones with too many babies.
Yeah.
And then
plus
it's like, well,
that it's a constant amount. Obviously, the less money you have, the more significant this amount will be, especially as if you have more than one child. You get the same exact amount, theoretically, if you're richer, but it doesn't matter to you. It's such an inconsequential amount of money. It's the exact opposite way that tax cuts generally are passed in this country. Usually, it's only really beneficial if you have massive quantities of money and therefore taxes already. This is far fairer and more equitable in the way that it works. And so what do you know? This is the one that the right doesn't give a damn about.
And also, I do want to point out in that stat you said about after April and the tax season where people are getting their refunds, just a reminder that so much of the workforce is going from W-2 to 1099, which means there's a lot of independent contractors and a lot of them don't get withholdings. So essentially the reason you get a refund is because when your paycheck comes through, they're setting some aside and giving it to the government along the way. So you've already paid your taxes and they give you back when you overpay. With this 1099 gig worker economy, depending on like your specific relationship with the employer and which employer it is, a lot of times they're just like, here's all your pay and you take it and it's not a lot, but you spend it because it's not a lot. And then at the end of tax season, you have to do your taxes and the government's like, you haven't paid us yet, so here's all the money you owe us. Turning this whole thing on its head at a time when they're relying on people to already have paid their taxes when the opposite turns out to be true. And that people are double effed.
Yeah. And I will close by saying, if you are a conservative that are watching this, I know the stuff where we were acknowledging that the increase in poverty is worse for Black and Latino families has probably made you totally tune out. You're probably not here anymore. But I will remind you that, let's see, we've got 1.4 million white children additionally being sent into poverty and going hungry. And I got news for you. They're not all libs. There are a lot of conservative white families that have a ton of kids that benefited massively from this sort of program. And it's one of the best pieces of evidence that, like, I know that you've been trained to hate the Democrats and to hate anyone proposing plans like this, but these sorts of plans almost necessarily benefit conservatives far more than the culture war nonsense. That's the only thing they will ever deliver for you.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.